So I went to the casino on Saturday and came out on top. It's not what you expect. After the sold-out real estate development tour in St. Catharines on Saturday, a couple of us played hooky and went to the Falls View Casino. Gambling actually stresses me out. I don't know what it is, but I get so stressed I don't enjoy it. But I'm happy to enjoy an adult beverage or three while watching my friends play. Plus, I'm extremely risk averse. It's funny, as a real estate investor, people who don't know me that well, even like family, they don't understand my investing or investing in general, in my opinion. They think I have a lot of risk in my portfolio. I actually abhor risk. And in this context, I prefer my money making me money instead of losing money. That is the number one rule in Warren Buffett's playbook, after all. Our group, as a combined total, we lost $1,800, or an average of $360 per person. Since I didn't gamble, the average loss was really, among the 4 remaining people in our group, was about $450. But then you also have to consider that Tammy DiSmazzo, who's on my real estate team, she broke even. So the losses among the 3 people who actually lost money was actually $600 on average. That's not even a tax-deductible expense. Patooey! Since our team had their wallets handed back to them empty, I picked up the tab at dinner. There's a lovely picture of it on our website, where you can pick up the show notes as well. But also, since dinner was a group with a group of clients, that would qualify as a tax-deductible client entertainment expense. The day was super fun. We hosted over 40 investors on the tour of an actual development property. There were no sore losers from the casino, so it was still a great day. And who doesn't like a decadent Chinese dinner complete with Peking duck? Next time, though, consider investing your money in hard assets or small businesses for yourself, which leads us to this week's guest. I get this question a lot from recent graduates and folks switching careers. I want to be an investor. Should I become a realtor? No idea why they're asking me. My 2 cents, don't ask me for career advice. I get this question so often, I invited this young gentleman named Tim to ask me his questions and record it, so I may share this with anyone else who's in the same boat as Tim. For those wanting to get a real estate license to get access to the data available to realtors, consider this. Over 50% of agents do 0 to 1 transactions per year. Don't you think you could hire an agent to be your assistant and send you the reports on the data you need? That would be considerably less expensive than the hundreds of hours required for the study to obtain your real estate license, plus a couple $1,000s per year to maintain your fees to maintain your license. Food for thought. And by the way, again, don't listen to me for career advice or legal advice. Anything that I mentioned on this podcast, these are merely my 2 cents on the subject. Secondly, I've learned in the method of business. I was trained in business. I went to business school for business. So I'm not trained in the social media, whatever is being shared. So I don't believe in following one's passions for business. The market does not care what you're passionate about. They don't care if you're passionate about real estate. I actually think it's kind of comical that someone's passionate about bricks and mortar and drywall and electrical outlets and granite countertops. None of that stuff really matters. I got my real estate license back in 2010 because there was a gap in the market. There was no one focused on guiding investors in Hamilton at the time. I was part of a fair-sized investor network at the time, and investors there were always demanding the same thing that I was, someone to help them and ensure their success investing in Hamilton. At the time, and I still am, a Hamilton investor. I was good at it. And I also was a pretty good realtor, hence the awards you see behind me. There was demand, and no one was applying the service to fill such demand. That's a business decision that I decided to fill. If you're looking to practice as a realtor, I suggest a similar approach to evaluating the supply-demand competition in your market. A great place to start, would be like what I did: become a member of a group of like-minded real estate investors. In my own group, the Infinity Wealth Investment Group meets on the 28th of February and 4 weeks later on March 28th. Those are Thursdays. If you want to be an investor, I can't recommend enough that you spend time around local, successful investors. If you want to take an even deeper dive into our Freedom 45 program, we can create for you a business plan that can truly give you the time and freedom to do other things you love. And that could be the casino, but hopefully that's not dealing with brick and mortar. If that's what you enjoy, go for it. Anyways, if this interests you, come to the next iWin event. You can register here at at www.infinitywealth.ca. Again, that's www.infinitywealth.ca. If you're looking for a quick get rich quick scheme, this isn't for you. Building wealth is a marathon, not a sprint. And playing for the long term takes a lot of risk out of your investing. No different than the casino. But I despise risks for my money. If you're looking to work hard and build an awesome portfolio scheme, then I'm your man. Anyways, enough from me. I give you Tim, a 23-year-old recent graduate with a 5-year psychology degree, $40,000 of student debt with big aspirations for what's next. Again, in the show notes, I list out all the books that I recommend. Have a look at truthaboutrealestateinvesting.ca. Again, the show notes are at www.truthaboutrealestateinvesting.ca.
But yeah, first off, I don't want to apologize if I'm awkward. I'm very anxious about this call, even though I've been waiting on it for like a month now. So hopefully I don't stutter a lot and whatnot.
It's all good. It's all good. So ask away.
Okay, so
actually, first, how did you find me?
So I'll start from the very beginning, I guess.
Sure.
So I graduated from university in August, so it's been like 6 months now, and after a few months after graduating, I was trying to figure out like what I want to do with my life, what kind of career path I want to choose. And I studied psychology, and I'm not really sure if I want to pursue that anymore, which is, kind of stupid, I guess, because I spent like 4 years learning it. But anyway, so real estate has always been in the back of my mind, just becoming a real estate agent, maybe own my own brokerage once I can. And started doing some research, and I came across wholesaling, flipping, and investing. And I came across that from a guy named Dean Graziosi. I don't know if you heard of him or not.
I don't know.
He just came up. Okay, fair. Yeah, he just came up on like a random YouTube advertisement. So I started doing some research on wholesaling and stuff, and I came across a forum called Bigger Pockets. And I was just reading some forums and just looking at some people's profiles, and I realized that a lot of people on this forum were actually from like the GTA area and from the Toronto area. And I reached out to Aaron Moore. I sent him a message.
Hey,
yeah, it's pretty much saying everything. Yeah, I saw your podcast with him actually. Yeah, so I messaged him. I was like, can you give me an advice? Like, what should my first steps be? I was wondering if I needed like a real estate license to start investing and whatnot. And he was like, you don't really need that. Just do some research before you start anything. Take a look, do your research. And then he brought up your name, said, Erwin is a good guy to look up. So I did that, and I reached out to you and your team. Mm-hmm. And so that's how I came across you.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, Aaron's not an agent. His wife is, though.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, I wasn't sure who he was. Just I saw him in the forum, saw he was in the GTA area. I was like, this guy's close by, seems knowledgeable. So just reach out to whoever I could and get whatever information I needed.
Yeah, no, he's a star. So yeah, you have any specific questions for me? Anywhere you want to start?
Yeah, so I kind of have a small list. So yeah, I spent a month waiting for this, so I figured I might as well be slightly prepared.
Excellent.
Yeah. So I guess my first question is, do I need to pursue a real estate license to start flipping, start wholesaling and whatnot?
My opinion, so for anyone who's listening to this, don't do what I do. This is not legal advice or career advice or anything. These are just my 2 cents. To be an investor, you don't need to have your license. And actually, your license can actually be an impediment to being an investor, especially if you're trying to find off-market deals. Because in any sort of advertisement, you have to advertise the fact that you are an agent. And I find there's a good percentage of the people out there that don't like agents for good reason, right? Agents are statistically are usually ranked near the bottom among used car sales professionals and politicians in terms of trustworthiness. And to be honest, they've earned it. Yeah, honestly, they've earned it. I've been pretty honest. I still hold back quite a bit. My displeasure for the profession. It's like many things, just understand it's a very low barrier to entry, right? I personally found the courses very easy to pass. I thought a university credit was easier than getting my realtor's license.
Yeah, interesting. I'm actually doing the real estate courses now, so I definitely understand that.
See what I mean?
Yeah, well, I'm only like I just finished the first course and is like 2 weeks of reading the textbook, so
right.
Definitely see where you're coming from with that.
Right, like to get into university, you require like an 80 average in high school, versus to pass your realtor courses, you only need high school equivalency. Right, so much lower standards. The testing isn't very hard. It's I think it's pretty expensive. A lot of people,
yeah, definitely.
And then understand as well the statistically about over half of realtors do about 0 to 1 deal a year.
Yeah, I've heard it's very tough for the majority.
Right. So being that your objective is to be an investor, being a realtor is not in line with your objective, in my opinion.
So when you're investing, so you're pretty much are you literally just like flipping, like, getting properties as for a good price and then, holding on to them for a bit until like their price goes up essentially?
Depends on your goal. Depends on your goal. As an investor, for example, so again, I've interviewed over like 80 like really high end investors on my podcast. I mastermind with some killers, including like Aaron Moore, folks who know like Ryan Carr and Susan White, Michelle Gauthier. They're all killers, right? I mean that as a compliment. So I've been around for a long time too. So it really depends on your cash flow requirements and also what capital you have available to you. I believe that the game of Monopoly is won by owning property, not by selling property. But everyone needs cash to live, right? If your portfolio doesn't provide you enough cash flow to live, then your wholesaling and flipping makes sense.
Okay, I see. And I guess my next question is: it's legal to wholesale in Ontario, correct? Like you can wholesale multiple properties, no issue with that.
Just do it properly.
How would you do it improperly? Like just what that?
So in Ontario for sure, like you're doing the courses as well. Again, no one listen to me. Don't take legal advice from me. My understanding is only realtors and lawyers are allowed to transact on real estate. So a lawyer still has to review everything, for example.
Oh, okay.
Well, a lawyer still has to close the deal. That shouldn't be a surprise, but you're young. You're new to this, so.
Yeah, I would say I know almost nothing about this, aside from that first course I just passed, which pretty much told me basics. It was just basic math and all that.
For your stage, though, you should be really starting to read. This is a great book on the subject. I'll just read it to you. It's How to Be a Quick Turn Real Estate Millionaire by Ron LeGrand. Right.
Real estate. By who?
Ron LeGrand. You're going to have to pay a lot of money for it because this is way out of print. This is 2004.
Yeah, way back.
Yeah. As far as like wholesalers and flippers and stuff like that, I don't really know many people older than Ron in terms of people who've been around long. There's a lot of new people, like your Dean Grazioli. He's been around. He's much. He's considerably younger than Ron. I'm not saying his stuff is bad. I always like to go back to the original people for content. Like Think and Grow Rich, for example. Like so many books are just derived from that, right? Like Stephen Covey's books. I always like to go back to originals for stuff like that. But my point is, though, like this is a good book for you to start with, because this will answer a lot of your questions, at least on the how-tos, and then after that, you probably need to hire yourself a coach.
Interesting. Could you provide me a small list of those books after his podcast, if that's okay?
Specific for wholesaling, I can't.
Or investing in general. Honestly, really do not know much about this, but I think I do want to get to know a bit more. So,
Another really good one is I took it off my shelf already because I'm reading it. Ian
mhm.
Szabo's book. I think it's Renos to Riches. That's a really good one too, especially if you're planning on flipping. You're gonna have to know how to renovate. That's that touches that gets pretty good into the subject. You'll still it doesn't teach you how to like swing a hammer or anything, but it'll get you so much further in a conversation with a contractor than probably what your knowledge level is right now.
Yeah.
Right. I don't consider that myself that knowledgeable, but I've been through many projects,
Mhm.
including full guts of my own properties. I've swung a
Interesting.
hammer myself for a little bit.
Mhm.
My
Do you do
ex
more like residential properties or more like commercial properties?
always done residential. Commercial is just a different. It's just a different sandbox with different rules, and it takes time to learn those things. So I make money where I make money, so I don't really want to take time away from that.
Yeah. Okay, I see. I see. Hmm. So let's see. I guess my next question. Uh, I mean, I guess you kind of already stated your perspective on that, but my next question would be: is a real estate agent a good career path in this time and upcoming decade?
I think it's more about. I think it can be for anyone.
Mhm.
You have to. I come from a business background though, so
Mhm.
I look at it from the. We weren't taught this new age stuff about like follow your passion. We were
Okay,
taught
fair.
more about filling gaps in businesses, right?
Mhm.
So when I became an agent, there was no one that was specializing as as a guide to investors in Hamilton. It was that specific what I was going after, right? No
Okay.
one marketing themselves was that. When you asked around, no one came up. And even when the name came up, they weren't really focused in investing. They're usually like 80% residential, 20% investors, right? At the most. Versus I was looking to be occupy the number one mind space for investors in Hamilton, and that's what I did. Right, the opportunity was there at the time. Versus now, there's several people that market themselves as offering the same guidance and service that I do. Right.
Mhm.
So then, if, you got to find your own niche as well.
Okay, I see. So, I guess this will be kind of a dumb question, but so what exactly do you do? Like, what exactly does your investing entail? I mean, like, so you go look at all these multiple properties and just scout them out, see which ones you like, and purchase them and hold on to them essentially, right?
You're asking about my investment business?
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, like I said, I believe we try to hold everything we get our hands on. Right? If we're in buying mode, we're on the market to buy. If I find a property that's an 8 out of 10 on my criteria, I buy it. Right?
okay, interesting. So I guess how does a person start doing what you're doing?
Uh, from an investor standpoint or from a realtor standpoint?
I guess from an investor, because that's what you are currently, right?
Right. I was a bit older than you when I started, so I already had a job and
Yeah.
had credit and stuff like that. And my partners had money, so my ex girlfriend at the time and her family had money. Like you gotta have money.
Yeah. Gotta have money to make money, right?
That's by far the easiest because the bank doesn't loan to people that doesn't have money.
Mm. So I mean, like for someone at my age, 23, or someone with, and also I don't have all that money and stuff. Like, where should I start? Just accumulate my money and build off from there.
I'd be, yeah, either do what it takes to make money. Sorry, it's my dog.
Yeah.
He's here.
Hey, no worries.
Say hi. Say hi, Tim. Actually you're from Vaughan?
I'm currently residing in Newmarket.
Newmarket. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi.
That's
I don't know if she
Tim.
can hear me or not.
She can't. I have headphones on. Sorry, the question is where to start.
Yeah, like where would someone like me start? Like honestly, I know nothing. Like I am
Oh,
very new to all of this. So just
crush the
yeah.
crush the books I just told you to read,
Mhm.
and I'd start getting a coach. If you can't afford a coach, then you're going to volunteer for them.
Interesting. I definitely wouldn't mind doing that.
There you go. Right.
Uh,
I'd reach out to Aaron.
yeah, he actually mentioned mentoring. I just wouldn't be able to do it, so I was like, okay, yeah, it's no worries.
Mentoring is so understanding how this economy works is everything comes down to economics in your relationship. In a mentoring relationship, you're the one receiving.
Yeah, for sure.
He gains a little bit in terms of giving back, but you have to understand someone on Aaron's level. Even myself, I'm no one special, but I have people asking me weekly for my time. Right?
Yeah.
I only agreed to do this because we are recording it, so that I can repurpose it, and so we can share this with people who are in the same boat as you, because I get the same questions that you ask all the time. So yeah, I would suggest volunteering if you don't have money and you don't have knowledge. But if you have time, that's where you start, right? And then another option is you can go knock on doors.
Knock on doors and
look for property.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Right. Tell people you're an investor looking to buy in that neighborhood.
Yeah, just see how much it'd give me the house for and whatnot.
Yeah, basically, just ask if they're looking to sell. Right.
Yeah.
Tell them you're not a realtor, and you can close quickly, hopefully.
Interesting. So, I mean, honestly, you've been doing this for a while now. How many years have you has being an investor been like your main career?
Investing's never been my main career. I only consider myself really an intermediate investor. Right. I have several other businesses. I have my realtor business. I have my my membership network business. I have all the marketing that goes in relation to that.
Okay.
I operate my own mastermind group. Yeah, and it keeps going.
It just got a lot of stuff. I see.
Yeah, multiple streams of income. Don't just depend on one thing. Because even as we're talking about real estate, I've been discussing it for a while. Like, we are due for a correction. We're due for a recession. I don't think it'll be as bad as as novices think recessions and corrections are. Because we went through the last correction pretty unscathed, right? Because like my clients may have lost some. Even myself, I may have overpaid for some property. On the way down, when prices were on the way down after the liberal housing fairness plan or whatever they call it. But my properties are all rented, so I'm cash flowing. I don't care if prices went down. I have
still making that passive income and whatnot.
I'm still making that passive income, and there's still 4 million people expected to come to Ontario over the next 20 years. So where are they going to live?
Yeah, most likely they're going to live in GTA too. So, in terms of like market trends and stuff, I mean, as you're saying, we're heading towards a recession, or housing prices are going down. So, would like now or then these next 5-10 years be a good time to start investing? Or
well, like I said, when I read about, because that was in the last in Ford's proposal for developments in Greenbelt and stuff like that, right? The proposal was in response to what they expect to happen, which over the next 20 years, which is 4 million people. How many people is 4 million people, right? So I just did a quick Google, Wikipedia. If you add together the number 2 town to the number 10 town, so number 2 being Ottawa, over 900,000 people, Guelph being number 10-ish in terms of population, you add number 10 to number 2, and you still have under 4 million people. So that's how much the Golden Horseshoe is going to grow in the next 20 years.
Jesus.
So I don't like to tell people what I think is going to happen.
Fair. It's like,
but this is business, right? People talk real estate, but really it's business, right? I don't talk about what I'm passionate about. I'm talking about what is the business need, right? The business need that needs to be addressed out there is affordable housing. It's the number one. It's the number one political issue in almost every province of Canada, right? So what's the problem? There's not enough affordable housing. So what should you own more of?
Oh, there you go.
This is just business.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see.
Oh, and if you haven't read it already, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah, I definitely have not read that at all, so write that down.
What have you read? What are you reading?
I'll be completely honest, not much regarding like investing and all that at the moment. I I didn't really know what to read. I mean, there's so many books on this topic. It's just like, who should I read and who should I put my time to like learn from and whatnot. Like I don't, even all those authors you mentioned before, I honestly don't know any single one of them.
Okay.
Like I'm completely new to all of this. So
you study psychology. What is the psychology of successful people?
What is the psychology of successful people? Honestly, I can't give you a real answer to that.
You should probably find out.
Yeah, I definitely should. I mean, I pretty much did a lot of studying on like, more like mental illnesses and stuff rather than like that kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's stuff's interesting. Like I dabble in some silly stuff too, like just for self-interest. I'm not saying that that's what you're doing is silly, but I replace the word silly with like side interest, right? I spend some time on side interest stuff as well, but I'm more focused on stuff that will benefit myself. Because what benefits me benefits my charity, right? And that's one thing that I know successful people do in terms of psychology is they're driven by something bigger. So, for example, my bigger is I want to leave $5 million to my charitable foundation when I pass. Right, that number now changes. More recently, I decided I'll probably leave half. Right, we'll probably leave half of everything we own to our charity.
Still a lot, yeah.
So a $5 million charitable foundation will hopefully spit off about 10% a year in money to fund the operation of the charity. So about $500,000 a year for our operating budget for my charity. $500,000 provides 1,000 best holidays ever for 1,000 families.
Yeah, that's unreal.
So if I don't and that's forever, right? As long as that foundation exists and it's invested well, 1,000 families a year will have their best holiday ever.
That's crazy.
So if I don't do what I do, if I don't do what I do, then it doesn't happen. 1,000 families are without because I didn't deliver.
That's good. Yeah.
That's just an example of how highly successful people think. So mental illness is great, like to, for self-care, make sure your kids, your family are out of those problems. But man, I don't know many unhappy people who have money.
Yeah, that is for sure. They say money isn't the root of happiness, but you know what? I see otherwise.
I think money more
definitely helps with that.
I think money more shines a spotlight on who you are. All right. So if you have a poverty mentality, if you're a poor person mentality, you will become poor even if you win the lottery. Right. If you have a giving mentality, you're going to give more when you have more. Right. Like like what Buffett's given away. Well, heck, like people talk about like Mother Teresa and like legit saint. Mother Teresa, legit saint, right? Just Google like what the Gates Foundation has done, which is Bill and Melinda Gates. Like even a quick Google, you'll find that they cured malaria for 300 million people in Africa.
That is unreal.
Wouldn't that qualify you as a saint?
I mean, you're definitely helping out in some way, right? In a big way, if anything.
So, and again, is he an awful person? I've read he's done some nasty things in business, but he's also done a lot of good for a lot of people. So read, I'd suggest reading Maximum Achievement, and then let me know how it goes.
Maximum Achievement?
Yeah, by Brian Tracy. Because one of the early things I did was I hacked my own psychology.
You hacked your own psychology.
Yeah, I understand. I figured
Understood
out
yourself and how you think and whatnot.
how I think, and I figured out what motivates me, and then
Okay,
so I push on my own buttons to motivate myself.
Mm-hmm. Like honestly, when I started looking into all this, obviously I just graduated from university, so I was in, also I have some student loans I got to attend to and whatnot. So obviously my main motivation was just money, which I guess is obviously very selfish, but
that's nothing wrong with that.
Money runs the world. Yeah, so.
And I'm not saying money's everything. I was always raised that my happiness is everything, but having money can get you a whole lot of happiness.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Because nothing makes me happier than doing what we do for our charity. And my wife and I were the number 3 donor for our charity. So we put our money where our mouth is. It's just not our efforts. And again, the charity doesn't exist without us, and we can't do charity unless we have wealth.
Yeah, very true. Is there, also my mind's going like blank at the moment. Is there anything else that you think that would be very beneficial for me to like know as a complete newbie?
I think you have a lot to do. I've given you 4 books that you kind of must read. So yeah, draw me a line after you've read, especially after Maximum Achievement. I may even start there if I were you.
Yeah. Okay, so just sort of 4 books that you kind of mentioned was Maximum Achievement, The Quick Turn Real Estate by Ron LeGrand, or
Ron LeGrand.
Third one was like How to Make Friends and
Influence People,
Investing and Influence People.
How to Win Friends, Influence People by Dale Carnegie. This will help you a lot in your negotiations, and also just to network in general.
Okay, interesting.
And then Renters to Riches by Ian Szabo.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Renters to Riches by Ian Szabo.
Yeah, so clearly I definitely got to do my research on all this stuff first. So I'll definitely get to reading those. So thank you for that.
Maximum Achievement's like $10, so I'd start there.
Okay.
Oh, Rich Dad Poor Dad's a good one too.
Rich Dads, Poor Dads?
Yeah. A lot of you can find a lot of these in the library as well.
I was going to say, I could probably find some way on the internet to get them, but...
Read it and take lots of notes.
Yeah? Yeah. Okay. So I guess obviously my first step, read these books, generate my own source of income, own wealth, before I can even think about doing anything with real estate investing.
Not necessarily. Like you can start volunteering for someone right away. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Especially after you read these books, it'll make you a lot more attractive to someone to take you on as a volunteer.
Okay. And so, obviously, real estate license is totally unnecessary. When you said it could be impeding to trying to become a real estate investor. Yeah,
because just think, as a real estate professional, whoever you're talking to is supposed to be your client.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. As soon as you give them a modicum of advice, you've actually you've created. Again, anyone listening, don't listen to me. I'm not a lawyer. I know nothing. These are just my 2 cents. Do your own research. But as soon as you offers any sort of piece of advice to a potential client, you've created a client relationship, right? Even though it's not contractually or anything like that. But now that they're their client, your job is to get them exactly what their objectives are, right?
Which could be sell or buy, yeah.
Which could be potentially to get them the most value for their house possible.
Okay, true.
And that's not exactly your objective as an investor.
So say, like, for me personally, I do kind of wish to continue trying to become a real estate agent. I know, at least in Ontario, you have to get your license again or renew it every 2 years, I think it was.
Update courses.
If I'm wrong with that.
They're update courses. It's not a redo.
Oh, okay. So, once I get my license, will that, I just be considered a real estate agent forever, or
you have to join a brokerage and a board.
Yeah.
and those cost you even more.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah.
Well, I read. Mm-hmm.
And they'll be in place to discipline you as well if you step out of line.
Yeah.
And understand that the dues that you pay are there to pay for the regulation of realtors as well. So we pay into people who enforce the rules against us.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, at the moment, those are pretty much all the questions I've had. I mean,
so go back. If you want to be a realtor, you better figure out how it is you're going to do it before you're licensed. Because why would you spend the time if you don't know how you're going to make an income out of it?
Yeah.
I kind of wish someone said that to you before you went to university.
Yeah, honestly, like...
How much debt do you have?
How much debt do I have?
Yeah.
Honestly, about 40 grand.
How much did the whole thing cost you? Just tuition? Just tuition and books.
Yeah, son. Yeah, probably about like 40 grand. Maybe just underneath that, if anything.
Did you have to live at a home, like pay rent or residence?
Yeah, I was on residence for first year, and then I actually did university for 5 years because I switched my program after the first. So I had, get some money for living expenses, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Lived with like in a house with roommates and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Even then, we're trying to consider if we can like accumulate money to get a down payment on a house, then just keep renting that house to other students.
Mm-hmm.
But,
not a bad idea.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, a couple of my friends did that already. So
nice. How many friends? They bought a place?
Yeah, well, just like with some help from their parents and whatnot. I don't know, like about like 3 people who've done that and just currently renting out. Yeah.
So the 3 of them got together and bought a place?
Well, no, they're not together, just 3 separate people. I know one buddy right now, he owns a place in Oshawa, lives in a basement with his girlfriend, and then he's renting out the upstairs to multiple students.
Love it. Yeah,
so that's definitely solid for him.
Love it. Gotta hustle.
Yeah.
It's harder than ever for people your age, and it'll be harder. What do you think? Do you think it'll be easier or harder for your kids?
I don't know. I mean, I hope it's easier on them. That's what I can hope for, right? I don't know if it would be harder or not. I want to say it could be easier if, like, all this technology and stuff, and they can make use of, the internet and how available it is to everyone. But yeah, I don't know if it'd be harder or easier.
Life might be easier. I think just making income would be harder, especially with things like AI and, like you said, the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There's a lot of things that are going after realtors as well, including like blockchain and AI.
Mm-hmm. So I guess in terms of marketing yourself as an investor, what's I mean, obviously you have all these other things that you're focused on and whatnot. Like, what's been your main source of, like, I guess, getting yourself out there as an investor? I mean, I know you have your website and stuff going. You have this podcast as well. I mean, is there anything like else aside from that?
Early stages, I blogged. I blogged once a week. Mm-hmm. Again, I didn't just blog for randomness, though. I blogged because there was a niche for no one was addressing the need for investment guidance in Hamilton for real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so my blog got me a lot of attention. I was a part of a pretty big network of investors, so that I got leads there regularly. I was looking for the number one or number 2 mind space for that service that I provided, and I had it. Right, that's why I had business. That's why I had clients. That's why I was able to leave my job.
Mm-hmm.
The realtor business is the majority of my day-to-day income. I no longer practice though. I haven't practiced for close to 2 years. I haven't done.
But you're the owner of the brokerage, of course.
I run my own team. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Owning your own brokerage is you talk. Like when you spend more time around broker managers and owners, you see if you want to deal with it. Remember what we discussed earlier about my opinion of most realtors?
Yeah.
And then you're the one responsible for them. You'll be the one responsible for them as a broker owner or broker manager. And can you imagine what people you have to deal with their customers who are mad at them, or other agents or other broker owners who are mad at them? So that's again, don't listen to me. I don't know anything. This is just like some of my own observations and my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Right. And also just the amount of paperwork involved.
Okay. Well, yeah, you definitely gave me a lot to think about, and thanks for getting me in the right direction with those books. I feel like I definitely need to read that.
Yeah, go crush them.
On everything. Oh, I definitely will. Really trying to think if there's anything else.
Yeah, a lot of your questions could have been answered, hopefully, in a lot of books as well. Because when you're on Real About Realtors as well, I'm looking forward to that. Like, you see how many books I have open on my desk? Because I'm always reading. I'm always referencing. I'm always going. Like, if without having to read the book at least first, I can't go back and reference it to go back to like what I needed to do. Because like Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller, right? You should understand what other realtors go through to make a living. It's not the prettiest always either.
So what do you go through? How's your day to day right now? Like,
always trying to be productive. I've tried so many different practices on how to run my day. And now what's working for me is I have a whiteboard next to my bed. And every day I look at it. Every morning I decide what 3 things I have to do. Right? So I talked about Gary Keller, right? This author for Millionaire Real Estate Agent. So I write down, his latest book was That One Thing, or something like that, right? What is the one thing you should be working on? I write down 3.
Interesting. So you're literally you're always productive. Always.
Yeah, I'm always trying to be productive. Part of it also is saying no. I say no to many people who ask for this sort of conversation as well. Again, like I mentioned, I only said yes to this one because we're recording it, so I can repurpose it, and I can, and hopefully people who listen to the podcast will hear this, and so they have many of their questions answered before they ever have to come to me with anything.
Yeah.
And then I can always go back to them and say, "Have you read every book that Tim was supposed to read?"
Okay.
Right. And if you want, after you've done all the homework that you've been assigned, we can come do this again.
Yeah, I would definitely love to. Once again, I apologize. I'm completely new to this, so thank you for everything you said so far already. Like, definitely helped me out, especially starting from ground zero.
Awesome. Everyone starts from somewhere. It's just choosing the better path is more efficient. And I've been through it. I've seen it enough. Again, just my 2 cents. Don't do anything I say.
Yeah.
I'm no career counselor.
Well, I've been listening to this. Definitely going to listen to you.
Excellent. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Tim. Thanks for letting me record this.
Yeah, honestly, thank you again. Thank you so much.
All right.
Have a good day. Yeah.
You too.
Bye-bye.